Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. Hopefully you all had a great 2014 and you saw in the new year in style. I have to apologise, this is going to be a video on my old webcam. My camera is out of action for the time being, but don't worry, my future reviews will get back to that camera. So hopefully this doesn't distract you from an interesting video, because this is going to be a top 10 films of 2014 as far as I'm concerned. Now, a lot of people with their top 10s, they have a lot of similar films in them, so you're probably umming and ahhing about whether or not you want to watch this video. But knowing me, being a foreign film fan, there are going to be a lot of films in here that aren't on other top 10s. I'm not choosing them because they're not on other top 10s, but because my taste is so different. There are going to be a few Hollywood mainstream films in here, but there's also going to be some films that you probably haven't heard of as well. So I'm going to get straight into it before I waste any more time, and hopefully you enjoy this video. So number 10, we're going to go to Indonesia, and this film is called Killers. Now, Killers is directed by the Mo brothers. They're not actually brothers, but their last names finish in Mo. They're Chemo and Timo. So you got Chemo Stambol and Timo D'Argento. Timo D'Argento, also known for the VHS2 segment of Safe Haven. He co-directed it with Gareth Evans, and he's also familiar with the film Macabre, which actually the Mo brothers directed that as well. So this is a very different film. This is a serial killer film, and if you like I Saw the Devil, you're going to like Killers. Now, we're not going to give an in-depth description of this film, so I haven't reviewed it yet, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant. It's a very dark film. It makes you cringe. The violence is very hard-hitting. I thought it was a lot more brutal than I Saw the Devil, but the overall premise of the film is very unique. It's about these two serial killers who are very different from each other. One's a psychotic individual, one's a vigilante. So they're starting to compete with each other on the internet, and then all of a sudden they meet and there's a bloody showdown. So I thought this is absolutely fantastic. If you're a fan of Asian cinema, then Killers is definitely a film you must check out. So that's number 10, Killers. At number 9, we go to Australia. Now, this film is called Tracks. Now, Tracks is a real story. It's based on a true story of this woman who ventured across the Australian outback with only the help of 3 camels and her dog named Diggity. Now, this is deemed a mission impossible, but her inspirational sort of journey will really make you feel good about yourself. I thought it was a very feel-good film. There's a lot of emotion in it. There's a lot of sadness to it as well, but it's just a very uplifting film that I wasn't expecting. There's no action, but it's just a very in-depth look at a very interesting character, and I thought there was a lot of depth to it. The scenery was excellent, and this just showcases what Australia is capable of when we put our mind on the job. So that's number 9, Tracks. Number 8, we go to the United States with Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy, directed by James Gunn. I'm a fan of this guy. He's fantastic. He was also responsible for the films Slither and what was the other film, Super, which I'm a big fan of both of those films. So coming into it, I was expecting something of a similar quality, and that's exactly what I got. Now, this movie, it does come with hype, and the hype does match what the overall film is. I thought it was very enjoyable, very funny. The script is very well written, as is the case with all other films of this director. I love the characters, just a bunch of ragtags charged with basically defending the Earth from the threat that is imposed. So I just thought it was very funny. At the same time, it had really good action to it, and it was just, the continuity of the film was excellent. And it's one of these mainstream Hollywood films that I really enjoyed, and that's why it gets my number 8. We go to number 7, and number 7 is The Babadook, which again is another Australian film. This was a fantastic horror film. There's so much more to it than just a ghost story or a mythological story. There is a lot of depth. I'm not going to give anything away. I reviewed it. If you want in-depth details about the film, please go and check the review. But I thought this was fantastic. I thought it was scary, and it just had a really, very much a surreal feel to it. It actually felt like a movie that Baz Luhrmann would make if he was into horror. It had that same sort of other dimension feel. It was very surreal, and I loved the way that it felt. And because it was really scary as well, it was funny in some parts and really disturbing in other parts. And as I said, it will make you think, because it's so much more than just a typical horror film. So number 7 is The Babadook. I really enjoyed that one. So we go to number 6. Now, number 6 is another Australian film. It was definitely a good year for Australian movies, and this film is called These Final Hours. This is a fantastic film. It's about the apocalypse that's oncoming, and this guy has to find his girlfriend and make amends with his girlfriend before the end of the world. So I thought this is a brutal film. It's a very emotional film, and it's everything that you want from this type of movie. So I thought the character development was there. It was really, the impact of the violence was there, and it was just a really depressing film, and I loved it, and I'm sure a lot of people out there will like it as well. This movie didn't get the recognition it deserves, and that's why it makes my number 6. So it's number 6, These Final Hours. At number 5, we have The Raid 2. Now, this is another Indonesian film directed by Gareth Evans. This is one of the best action films ever made. The violence is extreme, and it's a very long film. It's over 2 hours, but I never got bored of it because the fight scenes, the story, it all intertwines into an epic martial art film. If you're a fan of martial arts, definitely go and see The Raid 2 because it will not disappoint. I thought it was better than the first one, and that's saying something because I thought the first one was brilliant as well. So if you want martial art films with absolutely perfect choreography in the fight scenes, and a little bit of depth in the story, then The Raid 2 will definitely deliver. I love this film, and it stands as one of my favourite action films of all time. So that is number 5, The Raid. Now, number 4, we have a film called The Grand Budapest Hotel. Now, The Grand Budapest Hotel, I saw this film at the start of the year. It has a host of very good actors, and I just love the way that it was told. It was very funny. Once again, it was a very surreal feeling that the film had, and I just thought it was worth the experience. Now, a lot of people had talked about it. The hype was there, and I thought it was going to be a victim of being overhyped, but it wasn't. I thought it was just expertly made. I loved every minute of it, and that is why it gets into my top 5. So that's number 4, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Number 3, we have a film called Predestination. Now, once again, another Australian film, and I thought this is fantastic. I love time travel films, and I love the ambiguity of them, and the endless conclusions that you can make. You can make your own mind up, and when you start thinking about them, you go over and over and over, and it drives you crazy. And that's exactly what Predestination does. I love the story. I love the way that it was made. I thought Sarah Snook in the lead role was absolutely mesmerising. I loved Ethan Hawke as well. The Spierig brothers who directed this, they're very good directors. They also made Daybreakers and another film called Undead, which are very good films in themselves, but I think Predestination is their best film, and I would highly recommend you go out there and see it as soon as possible. Okay, the next film we have at number 2 is a film called The Water Diviner. Once again, another Australian film. This one's directed by Russell Crowe. His debut feature film, and this was absolute knockout. It takes place back in the World War One during the Australian invasion of Gallipoli, and it tells the story of a father who was looking for his 3 sons who went missing during the war. They've been deemed to have been killed, but he has a feeling that they're still alive. So he travels over to Turkey from Australia, and he's hell-bent on finding them. So along the way, he develops some friendships, and he comes back a completely different person. So this movie is absolutely beautiful. I thought the story was captivating. There's some very emotional scenes in it, and it just shows you what Australia can do when we put our mind to it. Now, a lot of films from Australia are made for television garbage, but this one really delivers. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Once again, I haven't reviewed this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if you haven't heard of The Water Diviner, look it up and go and see it, because this is an absolutely brilliant film, and it showcases that Russell Crowe is not only a great actor, but he is also a superb director. And this leads me to number 1 of 2014, and this won't come as a surprise because I reviewed this recently and I absolutely loved it, and that film is called Gone Girl. Now, this is a David Fincher film. This is a very disturbing tale about this guy's wife who's gone missing, and then the blame has been put onto him, and he has to try and clear his name, and he finds out that the truth is far more horrific than he ever thought. David Fincher is a fantastic director. He made Seven, which is one of my favourite serial killer films, and it has the same sort of feel than Seven, as in a very dreaded atmosphere, and this showcases why this guy is so brilliant. I thought the acting was great, the story was great, the movie evolves into something so much bigger by the end of it. A lot of people didn't like the ending, but I really liked it, and I thought the acting from Rosamund Pike was absolutely brilliant. I mean, her performance as this wife was absolutely incredible, and I'm not going to give anything away because certainly the film relies on the unknown, the uncertainty. So I will say that her character was one of the most memorable characters in 2014, if not, in the last 10 years. I just thought David Fincher shows why he's such a brilliant director. I mean, Gone Girl is absolutely fantastic, and I loved every minute of it. So that is why it gets my best film of 2014. Alright guys, that's my video. As I said, there's a lot of different titles in there. If there are some titles that you liked and you didn't see in this top 10, maybe I didn't see it or I just didn't like it as much as you did. If you want to leave your top 10s in the comments or you want to make a video about it, please feel free. But hopefully you found this video interesting and it proves something different from a lot of top 10s out there. Alright guys, that's it. As I said, hopefully you enjoyed your 2014 and hopefully 2015 will be even better. So Happy New Year guys, and I'll see you later.